Hello and welcome to the Build with Bear Workshop. My name is Pat Bear. I'm here to carve a pumpkin. What? That's right. It's the third annual pumpkin carving stream. I'm going to throw the Bear Cave, the Lego, the site, the moat into chat. If you're currently a subscriber, you can reply with one of those. You can also just say hi. Harold, thank you for hosting, as always, my friend. I hope you're doing well. This is the intro portion of the stream. We are going to get into this pumpkin carving in just a moment or two. Good evening, Epic. Open World. Hello, Lashbrook. Welcome, welcome. Now, this will be your normal build stream, except instead of building a model kit or a Lego set, we are going to be carving a pumpkin. I got a good sized pumpkin here, not super large, not super small. Aristophan is here. Hi, Aristophan. Welcome, welcome. We will do all the stuff we do at the streams. A normal build stream, which is chat with y'all about what you want to talk about. Thank Crazy Like Fox who just subscribed. Said, whoa, carving time. That's 15 months. And I got an emote for that. Apparently, there are Halloween emotes are out here. Bobby Dice Roller is here. Welcome, welcome. Oh, I got to throw this thing in here. Sorry about that. Applause. But yes, now, so yeah, subscribe because I guess there are some gift emotes out there. Appreciate that very much. Yeah, so we'll still, I'll still talk about anime. We'll talk about what you want to talk about. I got like a couple ideas of things to chat about. We'll go over my history with this fine enterprise. Encourage folks to hang out, chat about your holiday stuff. Now, I will say this in the intro portion. Mr. Bob is here. Hey, Mr. Bob. I did get myself something to build on Halloween. October 31st is a Saturday. I will be doing a build stream because I don't want to give it. Because honestly, I'm not going to a Halloween party. What else am I going to do? Not stream and just hang out? Hello, Unwitting. Welcome. So I am going to just do a stream. I got a Lego set. I'm not going to say what it is, but it's a Lego set that is Halloween inspired or themed or appropriate. Let's say appropriate. It is appropriate to build that Lego set on Halloween. So whatever I'm working on, I'll pause it. Hello, welcome, Cali Unit. Wave to you. Wave right back. So on Halloween, I will be doing a build stream. We'll pause, just like we're carving this pumpkin. We're not building pumpkin. We're carving this pumpkin instead of finishing up the Gun EZ, which I do have over here and can pull in if we have time left in the stream. If we don't finish things up and we want to get into it, I can do that. Now, I'm going to be honest with y'all. I don't think this is accurate. The number of folks viewing right now, so I'm going to refresh my page here because I don't think this is true. It could be. I don't think it is. Okay, it looks like there's a lot of people watching right now. I do not know if that is accurate or if Twitch is going through a thing. If it is accurate, that's bizarre. Welcome. Hello. Let me quickly check Twitter to see. Yeah, no. I thought maybe somebody retweeted. It could just be a lot of people are watching right now. Hey, Lord Crashington. And if that's true, welcome. I don't think more people than I ever get watching me at any time are actually watching right now. But that would, so I'm not going to go on that. But everyone is pumped for the pumpkin, indeed. But I do, it's just because improv gave us a tight 5. Yeah. Oh, we're going to talk about that later. We're going to chat. I'm going to say this right now. Let's look at our pumpkin because we're going to, the first step in talking to the tools. Jam's here. Hi, Jam. We'll talk about that. Improv got mentioned on an anime, and I don't know how to deal with that. Will it be anime-themed carving? I don't think so at Big Open World. So my rule is, and here's the pumpkin. It's I don't have my overhead light on right now because it doesn't help with this. But you can see the photo that I took in good lighting of the pumpkin. And I have a piece of cardboard here to help prop this up because it would roll around otherwise because it's not great in the back. But we want to make sure that we have our top here at a decent amount. It doesn't have to be perfect for where we want, but we're centering it. There is a gouge here. You can see there's a gouge that I don't want to be included in the face of it. It could be a scar, but I'd rather not work around. I'd rather work around it instead of incorporating it because it still works out. So I've got this little piece of cardboard here to help prop it up where I want. Because once we get the design the way I would like the design to look, it doesn't matter what happens to if it rolls around a bit, because we're just going to be then using following the guide that we set up for ourselves. So we will use a Sharpie to figure out where we want to put stuff here. Draw a little bit here, figure that out. I'll use an X-Acto knife to start the first couple cuts, trying to keep this clean as possible, but still using it, and that's fine. We will then use this knife to get in there, to do some scraping, to actually cut the pieces we need to remove, and we will be using... now, I don't know if this is going to work well. This is not the kind of spoon that I would like to use. Am I the only one that hates the feeling of the insides of pumpkins? I don't love it, Epic Open World, but I don't hate it. So, because here's the thing. I don't think either of these is a good solution. This spoon is too small, and this is not curved as much as I would like. Oh, my cardboard saver here has failed me for the last time. Anyway, I don't think either of these is a good scoop. I have a very good spoon, but it is currently in storage in New York, because the spoon I used for some cooking and particularly for carving pumpkins, I'm just not using. Now, some folks may wonder about seeds. I'm not saving my seeds. No interest in the family here. No interest in having a pumpkin patch. And neither of my parents nor myself enjoy pumpkin seeds, the roasted seeds. I know some people, they love that. Me, not a fan. So we will not be doing that. But if you're out there and that's your thing, that's awesome. Enjoy your thing. So the first thing we're going to do here is, as I said, I did kind of mention this. We'll talk about it later when we talk about anime. There's an anime that is about stand-up comedy, a particular branch of duo stand-up comedy. Basically, Abbott and Costello routines. The pumpkin spoon. Yes, everyone has a pumpkin spoon, but you don't travel with your pumpkin spoon. So yeah, Maesetsu opening act, they were like setting up a little show in the cafe they hang out to test material. We'll get into detail later, but they were like, okay, so we'll do our act and then you'll do your act, and then to fill the hour, we'll do like an improv game. We'll play Q&A, where like somebody asked the questions and then everybody responded. And it was probably somewhat predetermined, but also there was some improv to it. But at the very least, even if it was a short form game, it wasn't long form by any means, an anime in the year 2020 talked about improv, and I don't know how to process that, because that shouldn't be a thing. Like, that shouldn't, like, yeah, I'm happy about it. I'm going to say that. Because there's an anime for everything, and now there is an anime about young ladies who want to be comedians, and that's the anime. And it's not the best anime in the world, and I would say the first episode is hard to get into because I wish it was set up better. I wish the first episode was something that I could just send to people that are like at least familiar with anime, and they'd be like, "Oh, cool, I can dig this." I don't know how to approach it because it starts with them like doing like a skit that is just like a lip sync, like an air band performance, but they're singing to kids, and then it's revealed that this isn't what they want to do. But it just comes out of nowhere and doesn't work as a gateway. I actually think the second episode might work better for people, but we'll talk about that later. I'm just very excited about the idea. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'll show it to you here. The whole table's going to shake. I apologize. We're going to get some shaky here. Until I start scooping stuff out of here, we're going to definitely have some issues. So I kind of know where I want this. I want to make sure the scar isn't visible. This looks about right. Feeling seen by anime is something. I'm a huge rock climber and kind of started crying when I first heard about Okakuru. Yeah, Cal Unit. I definitely enjoyed the third episode more than I enjoyed the second episode, because the second episode of that show definitely let me know that this show is like definitely a sports anime. I mean, I knew it was a sports anime, but it's fucking a sports anime. There's already a character that like you're supposed to hate and a character that you're supposed to be afraid of. And I was like, ooh. And they're both like different kinds of awful. And I was like, all right. And the third episode was just like, Hey, check out this other thing about climbing. Check it out. But yeah, it's so cool to see. I would say that about After School Dice Club. It even though it's called After School Dice Club, it's a show about girls discovering how awesome tabletop games are, and one of them has a dream of making her own, and like that's just it's a lovely show. It's also a show about like finding your friends and finding who you are and accepting yourself and growing as a person, but it's also about how cool tabletop shit is. And yeah, it's just great. All right, so this is kind of our outlook here. We're going to have eyes, we'll have a nose, we'll have a mouth. We're going to start with the mouth and work our way up because we can judge the spaces we need according to how things look. Because we don't want to go too high. And what we don't want to do is we don't want to go too low. We definitely don't want to go too low because you don't want to have your mouth go into the shape of the. You don't want like the floor of the pumpkin to be like in line with the mouth. So you want to judge it up a little bit. Now these are things that I like. These are not by any means what you should do in your pumpkin carving. These are just things that I generally like to have a little bit seen there. So we're gonna start with our mouth, then we'll move up to the nose, and then we'll do the face. So my other thing is I am not great at uh, any sort of art that is not improvisational comedy. Um, so my practical art skills are not great. So I'm not trying to make a scary pumpkin. I'm trying to make a fun pumpkin, a goofy, silly pumpkin that everyone can get behind. So we'll start about here. I think will be good, and then we'll make a nice big mouth, and I'll show you how it looks when I'm here. Yeah, so that's good. So this is our mouth. We got a big mouth here, and of course I'll adjust it as we get into carving. And then we'll do a nose, and we're going to leave some room. The other thing you want to do is you kind of get your center, and you want to make sure that there is enough room between your all of your cuts, right? Because you don't want things bleeding into one another, because then you might have a collapse. So like, here's the nose. I wouldn't put the eye right here and right there. I would space them out. Also because I got a big old mouth here, so I want to space that out. And I'm going to make the nose a little bigger because I can, and because that'll get cut out anyway, so that's fine. So there's our nose. And so then we'll put an eye, and of course we want to have a lip here, so this is where we're actually going to skip the step of the eyes, and we'll fill in the eyes later by figuring out what our lid is, our pumpkin lid here, and kind of go around. And then, of course, we'll actually probably be higher than that, but this gives us a sense, right? So we want to make sure that there's room between the lid and the eyes, enough room that we're not having any collapse. Also, understanding that we've drawn this pretty close, because you always want to draw a little smaller than you want, so that way you can cut outside beyond it. So we'll do a cut like here. So that way we get rid of all the Sharpie, because the Sharpie, this is not washable, so this is a permanent marker. We could have used washable. I don't have any of those, so I'm using what I have. And I'm going to do triangle eyes, because I think triangle eyes are fun. So we'll do this. And that's good. And then we'll go over here. And welcome everybody that's watching. If you haven't been to a stream in a while, hi, I'm Pat Baer. If you've never been to it before, haven't been in a while, hi, it's great to have you here. And if you haven't ever seen a stream before, but you were like, oh, well, pumpkin carving in the makers, I'll check that out. I'm Pat Baer. I normally do model kits and Lego sets. But I'm doing a pumpkin, and I've done this. This is the third time I've done this. First year, I waited way too long to buy pumpkins in New York City, and ended up with tiny little ones that were very hard to use because they were meant to just be painted, not carved. Those pumpkins are not meant for this. Then the next year, I did it very early in the season, and my pumpkin, it was a very hot October it felt like August in New York, and my pumpkin totally failed. And then this year, I am very happy that I think I've hit the sweet spot. I got a good pumpkin. I think I'm doing it a good time. It'll be out. It's cooler. It's going to get a little warm next week, unseasonably, but I think it'll be fine. Okay, so then we don't need this anymore because we're done with our drawing. So we can toss this piece. And now you can see what I'm working with. So yeah, so this is a big friend here. Now, are the eyes even? No, but in the cutting, we can make it better. As you can see, this is the original nose, and then I extended it. I might extend it even more because we do have plenty of space to work with, but this is just a big friend. And I think I've made this high enough for the shelf. We'll definitely know when we start cutting in here. I might end up having to kind of really cut this line. I may have made it a little too low. We'll figure it out once we get there. It maybe should have come up. But this is going to be our big, silly, goofy friend. So now we have to do the cuts. And it doesn't make any sense to do the front cuts when there's the top there. So we're going to get into the top. We're going to start with our X-Acto knife, and then we will get into it. And the bulk of this is going to be the scooping. The scooping is a big important thing. I might not do all of it. I might leave some and let some of that be there for me to deal with after the stream, but I'm going to try to do most of it right now. You will see there will be some liquid coming up as we make our cuts. That's normal. And this is mostly just me. I'm just cutting around here. I'm going to go outside the line a little bit so I don't leave a line. And I am going to kind of, I might dry things up a little bit. You can see the back of this. Pretty gross. Not bad. This is just dirty more than it is diseased or anything. You always want to check that in a pumpkin. You want to make sure that the spots aren't, because you don't want rot to already be happening in your pumpkin, because that would be awful. All right, so yeah, and we want to make this jagged. When we do the actual cuts, we will be cutting into it because we do want to have the lid be easy to remove and take up, and we'll also chop the bottom of the lid off. But the best part of this thing is once we cut this lid in is prying the lid open. It's my favorite part of it, and seeing what the pumpkin looks like inside and seeing if we really goofed up this pumpkin or not. Pat the Pumpkin Surgeon Baer. Yeah, indeed. Using my X-Acto knife. Getting in there. Making sure that I am cutting, as I said, away from the Sharpie line because I don't want to see it. And then we'll follow along there. Whoa! Cal Unit just gifted 10 subscribers and a bunch of 50 people got emotes, or 50 emotes were shared. Thank you so much. Wow. Okay, well, thank you, everybody. I'm now going to read everyone's who is now a subscriber, who now has a sub. I will read all your names. It's going to take a little while for this to catch up, so let me do that. Steam Droid, Go Board, Culinary Disaster, Chihuahua Pugs. What's up, Chihuahua Pugs? Christian, you're a subscriber. Enjoy it. Jessica, Olatigu, Paradiziv, Playback Machine. Ooh, nice username. Astrologically, and that's it. Welcome. Enjoy it. Enjoy your enjoy all of your many emotes that you got, your free emotes, and oh, that's right. These are the K-pop emotes. That's what we're giving away. For some reason, it's K-pop time here. But so enjoy your K-pop related emotes, and also enjoy being a subscriber, having my emotes, and also know that this generous gifting benefits me greatly. It means a lot. It means I'm just like above the line of like ever worrying about not getting a payment every month, which means I always get a payment, which means I get to buy more model kits and stuff. Like I said, I bought something specifically for Halloween today because those funds exist. So thank you very much. Pat streams are great, so hopefully some emotes and gift subs make it cool for the guests today. Yeah, and welcome everybody if you're new here. Some of those names I didn't recognize, so I appreciate you being here. So now we've cut all around it, or did we cut this part? Can't tell if we didn't. We didn't. So I thought we were done, but I'm being pulled back in. So I'm just going to go through this. I thought I had cut out here, and I didn't. So we'll do that. Great. Now we're there. We're going to make sure we clean this because I don't have a lot of these blades right now. So I'm going to try to get this nice and clean, or clean enough. But yeah, all right, that's everybody. So yeah, welcome. Enjoy your emotes that were unlocked because of the gifts, and also enjoy, my emotes and just being here. So we are carving. We're following the line here that was already traced out, and we are gonna try to go in at an angle. Follow the line that is already traced for me, and then again, it should be fine because we are going in at an angle here, and we will be scooping a lot of stuff out, so it's okay if this didn't work, but I think it should work fine. This knife, again, is not what I would normally use. It's not my preferred, but my preferred did not make the trip here. None of my kitchen stuff made it down here because my folks have a full kitchen. They have stuff I've never owned. Gotta remove the guts. Indeed, Lord Crashing, we gotta remove those guts. And as I said at the beginning of the stream, I am not saving the seeds. I know that for some folks, that's blasphemy because they either like to plant them to see what happens, or they're interested in roasting those seeds and having them. And I understand, but no one in my family enjoys that. I made sure to ask because I didn't want to find out later that my folks were like, "Oh, well, you were carving a pumpkin. What happened to the seeds, Pat?" And then I have to be like, "Oh, you like that? I didn't know you liked that shit. Okay, well, okay. Sorry. I goofed. And I don't want to say that." So instead, I asked ahead of time, found out, no, this is not a thing that we want. You are safe to dispose of these as we go. And so that's what I'm going to do. All right. I'm shaking a lot here. The shaking will definitely settle down once this lid is open. It'll be a lot easier to do this. We just have to go in here, finish this off. Okay. Moment of truth. Did I do this right? Did I get enough carp? Is the cuts deep enough? Are we ready to pop this? Also, want to make sure I'm not breaking my stem at this moment. So this is a little tough here. We'll try to pry this open a bit. Okay, ooh, it's looking good. Looking all right. All right, it's looking good. We're looking okay. I'm trying to rock this. I'm trying not the stem. I wish the stem was a little taller, a little longer, but it is and it is not a baller. Which is just an old reference from Pat. But it's coming up pretty good, so we will. Yeah, I'm trying not to pry the stem, break the stem, because that makes this a lot harder. All right, so something is fighting me. Oh, there we go. Oh, I can feel it. Oh, I can feel these guts. These guts are fighting. We're gonna cut under here while we pry. Oh, okay. There's an issue here. Ah, there we go. There we go. It's a prickly stem. Oh no, it is not prickly. Some of them can be prickly. Yes, especially the pumpkins that are not meant for carving, because like everything in this world, particularly in the United States, we genetically modify stuff to be what we want them to be, right? So we got to make our pumpkins bigger. We got to make our watermelon easier to cut, and prettier. We got to do all that stuff. They're now genetically modifying pineapples to be pink, which is awful. Don't look up photos of that because it just looks like cubed ham. Pink pineapple looks like cubed ham, and I'm not a fan of it. And it shouldn't be. But yeah, they have tried to breed out the prickly tops of the stem here. All right, so now we're just kind of cutting this bottom a little bit to make our lives a little easier. It'll make it easier to pry it and put it back, and you can see the lid goes on right there. There's that lid. Pop the lid off. There's the lid. So we're kind of done with the lid for a little while. We still need it, obviously, but we can put it aside. And you can see we got our pumpkin right there doing its thing. There's our pumpkin, friend. I'll turn it so you can really get a good look at it. There's our pumpkin. We will, of course, start cutting into this, but for now, I got to go and I got to cut around here, get the top going here. And when we scrape, we're going to try not to really ruin the. We want to make sure we don't do is scrape too much away so that the lid falls in. We want to make sure the lid will stay on. So we want to keep this wall here, this part of the wall, we want to try to keep as much of it contained as we can. And then we will just start doing some cutting, and then we'll do some scraping with our spoon, and then we'll do some scooping with our spoon. A good way to get the guts out of here is with a spoon. It is just easier than the knife, but the knife is good at the start. This is a healthy looking pumpkin so far. Lobotomy time indeed. I would call this a very healthy pumpkin. The smell is good. It's got that pumpkin-y smell. I don't see it. Nothing is rotten in here. I don't see anything. There wasn't a vapor that came out of it. I've never seen a vapor, but I certainly have. I love you, but you're so trash at carving this. Well, thank you. Here's the thing. As I said, make it a goofy friend. That's the goal here. Am I excellent at doing this? Not at all. Do I love doing it? Totally. This is not going to win. This pumpkin will not win an award. But I will enjoy the process thoroughly. Yes, I did leave my pumpkin spoon in New York. But yeah, over the years I have had tools, because even before I did streaming, even before this was the thing that I would do, I would carve pumpkins for work, because especially in 2011, when we opened our theater in the East Village, kids would come all the time. Kids would come to the bar entrance and ask for stuff, and so we started decorating more at UCB East, and I would hand out candy, and that ruled. I love doing that. All right, so we're going to cut in here a little bit. We'll put this aside for a moment. I appreciate that. But yeah, that's the thing. I'm having a good time. This is stuff I love doing. I am not, but yeah. Look, you can see this right here. This isn't clean. This isn't like gorgeous by any means. But like, that's the thing. I might be able to pull off an amazing looking pumpkin. I definitely can't do that on stream. I definitely cannot do an amazing pumpkin with an audience in 2 hours. That is probably not viable for me. That might be viable for you. I'm sure there's somebody in the makers segment in like that either this month, this coming week, next week, is doing like stenciled stuff. They can work with shadows. They're doing like a scene in there. It's like they're doing Among Us themed, because they're going with whatever game is popular, or they're doing Hades, or like whatever they think is going to go viral. I'm sure people are doing that, right? They're doing a Fall Guys bean, like whatever they think is working. I'm sure there's somebody out there who is absolutely 100% positively nailing it tonight, or this week, or whatever, with their pumpkins. Me, I'm gonna make something that's silly and cute, and I'm gonna be happy that I made it, and I'm gonna feel pretty okay about it, and I hope people have a good time with the stream, because that is, at the end of the day, that's what all my streams. We had one stream this year. Is it worse than Elfin Lied? Yeah. Okay. There you go. We had one stream this year where I did the Pokemon randomizer, and I had a very bad time. It is, I think, the only stream this year where I can confidently say I had a very bad time streaming, and I think the audience was bummed out for me, because that randomizer, that Pokemon Emerald randomizer Nuzlocke, that is the only time I'll ever do a Nuzlocke, because that just was just like, oh, we got a legendary. Oh, it doesn't know any moves. Oh, it doesn't know anything. Oh, I have nothing that knows anything. None of my Pokemon can do anything. We end up having to use struggle to defeat some Pokemon. Oh, that was an awful, awful thing. Critical hit killed one of the only Pokemon that knew moves that could work on flying types. Oh, that was unbelievably bad time. It was an awful, awful time. So then, I would say that's probably the only stream this year where I was like, this is bad. I guess we did have the Jackbox that like people were kind of shitty, and I'm very worried This Wednesday, we are going to be playing Jackbox Party Pack 7. It just came out on Thursday. This past Thursday, Jackbox Party Pack 7 came out, and so we will be going and looking at that. And as always, I am a little worried about people being jerks in there because we're going to play Quiplash 3, and we'll have some games. There's at least one game that I think you need everyone in the room. Everyone needs to be on mic for. So I will be investigating that to see which game it is. But I think one game doesn't work well, but everything else I think should be pretty fun. So we'll at least be playing like at the most we'll do 4 games, try them out. But we're gonna try Party Pack 7 and see if that'll be fun. And I am a little worried about that, but I'm always a little worried. I haven't opened it to check out if they have any new features, any new quality of life features, but we'll check that stuff out. But hopefully, I had a few problems with assholes during my backbox stream this past weekend. Yeah, Harold. Yeah, that's always a problem, unfortunately. But I'll be checking a look at 7 and seeing like what comes of it. What we might end up doing is, or I might end up improved moderation for Quiplash 3 is good. Oh, that's good to hear. I don't even know what games to do pack. Well, Epic Open World, there's a kind of like a world building kind of game, I think, with like changing. I don't know. It's like a group activity one. I don't know the exact nature of it. Quiplash 3 is in there. There is a drawing game, but it's not TKO, but it's similar. But there's a lot more changes that happen. I haven't really done all of the investigation of the different games. I plan on watching a Let's Play before my stream on Wednesday, so I can kind of at least understand what the games are. But we'll go through it together, and I think it'll be fun. All right, scooping has gone pretty well. We are going to switch from the big scoop to the little spoon. It's still a big spoon, still a tablespoon. But we'll get in there and try to get some scraping done here before we get into other carving. And we're just trying to get some layers. This is a great pumpkin. I am very pleased with this pumpkin here. Quiplash 3, Blather Round, The Devil in the Details, Champed Up, and Talking Points. And I believe Talking Points might be the one that doesn't work great if you don't have everyone on a microphone. I can't remember, but one of them I know it's best if you have people on mic. But like I said, we'll take a look at those. I know Quiplash 3 will be fun. I really like Blather Round. Okay, cool. Yeah. Also, what I'll probably end up doing was going to say, which I didn't actually get out of my mouth. What I'll probably end up doing for that stream is not advertising that we're playing Jackbox in the categories and just putting under like demo or something, because there are people that search Jackbox games to be jerks. We've run into the few of them. That's when we play games where you can't add answers. So we'll play like what's the one? We'll play Guespionage, because that's one that doesn't involve, you can't write anything in that one. You're just doing voting percentages. And I'm like, yeah, that's what you have to do. You have to play the Jackbox games that are interactive but don't involve typing. Ugh. Seems like Among Us has stolen all the spotlight from other social games like Jackbox. Epic Open World, I would say it definitely has like it's definitely stolen the spotlight from like Fall Guys as games you can play. But one of the things about Among Us that hurts that doesn't hurt it, but definitely keeps it from maybe eating a little bit of Jackbox's lunch, is that you need a bunch of people to play together. Now, you can use chat. You can play it with chat. But if you're streaming it, you kind of need to have a bunch of people available in order to make it work. You can't really do it just with a couple of folks. And even with Fall Guys, you can always just play Fall Guys with a few people, and it doesn't really matter. Or you can just jump into random games and not care about it. But I think that is a thing that does limit it, is that you need people to play with you for it to be more fun. Whereas Jackbox, you can always play with chat. And I think that's really fun. Playing with chat is always fun, for me anyway. That's one of the reasons why I like playing Jackbox stuff. One, I like the games, but two, I like having a thing that I can do with y'all. That's way more interactive than just you typing some words here and there in chat. And and also obviously there are a bunch of y'all that your preferred thing is to just not even be in chat, just watch, hang out. Maybe you have the audio on, you kind of check in because I'm building a model kit, and you might see like when when I say something referencing what's going on, you perk up and take a look, but you're kind of doing other stuff. You got other tabs open. You got this on a second monitor or a TV or whatever, or your phone while you're doing things. I know some people watch these VODs at work, and I appreciate that. Okay. All right. We still got some more gunk. We're eventually going to have to look at some point. Hello, Ristafan. Yes. At some point, we have to face the music and carve the face. Where's that? Yeah, we are going to see a little bit of the lid here, I think. I think I did this mouth maybe a little low, but I think it'll be okay. I think it'll be all right. It might work out just fine. It might be a little lower than I would want it to, but that happens. But yeah, so right now I'm just trying to scrape all the insides. Basically, some suspect fisting action here. Hey, I just have my arm sticking out of the head of our pumpkin. The hole in the top of our pumpkin, guys. Nothing tawdry going on here. No. Look, I'm not even thinking we're going to light this. I want to get rid of all the stuff that is going to rot, because this thing is going to rot, obviously, but I would like it to rot slowly instead of over the period of time where it just kind of gets real gross. And so you just want to clean it all up. Sometimes people do stuff where they will remove all the guts of it and then carve their pumpkin and then stick some of the guts back in. And that's if you want a pumpkin that's vomiting, and that's very fun. If that's your thing, that is not. This pumpkin will not be vomiting its own guts. We did not make that. We're not making that pumpkin. We could make that pumpkin, but we're not making that pumpkin. All right. Oh, it arrived. I'll take a moment here to go and look to see if people voted. My $10 patrons get to vote on what I build next after the gun EZ, which I only have a little bit left. I have the shield, and I have the gun to put together for that, so it's almost done. We ran out of time a little bit on Saturday, so we didn't finish it. Yeah, right now the Sega Saturn Kit is a model kit of the Sega Saturn. It's official license between Sega and Bandai to make a little Sega Saturn, and that came in the mail, and that is what I'm going to be building on Thursday, and that is going to be neat and weird. It's got a little plastic CD and a bunch of stickers you could put on there, and the games that came with it are odd. We'll talk about when we get there, but I was like, oh, it's got to be stuff that was like first party that they could easily license. So I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. I guess you're not going to have a X-Men versus Street Fighter as one of the discs. Would rather have a Dreamcast. Epic Open World, I totally feel you. I totally agree. I think it's just because of the height of the kit, because it's the other one that's out there is a PlayStation 1. And then the third one is the Cup Noodle, which is coming. We pre-ordered that, and that's coming. So that's on the way at some point. I think it's shipping this week. But, yeah. I can understand if you're doing the PlayStation 1, you also do the Sega Saturn. That makes sense to me. I would prefer it was the Dreamcast, but... And also, in very Japanese style, it only comes with one controller. So we'll build one controller for it instead of two. Which was like, all right, fine. But yeah, it is a cool little thing, and I'm going to start that as soon as the gun EZ is over. So that'll be Thursday. All right, so let's scrape a lot of stuff here. You also pre-ordered the Cup and Noodles. Hell yeah, yeah. If you want to check out Loading Ready Run's VODs last Thursday, Ian in his Let's Try series, Tinker Tailor Solder Fry. He put that together, which was great to watch somebody else kind of do that. The cup noodle thing. I'm looking forward to putting that together. All right, so I'm just doing some last minute scraping here, trying to get some odds and ends off. We still have the hard part, which is cutting the face up. So we'll get to that in a hot second. But I'm just getting some carving done. And as I said, I'll probably do some of this carving off camera at the end. All right, getting some stuff in there. Just trying to get the ends. The small spoon set definitely helps. We don't really need the big spoon anymore, or my thing. This is meant to, I guess you pour hot water on top of this, and it heats the inside, and then you can scoop ice cream better. I guess that's the theory. I don't know. It's fine. It's a fine piece of equipment, and we've made good use of it for this. All right, now I got to do the dumping here. Got a double bag, trying to get pumpkin stuff all over the table that I use as my build table and also as my table. Like it's my computer table. So, yeah. Shake, 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 shake. All right, let's see if I can get this last gunk here. Scraping, scraping, scraping. Let's see. It still scoops, and that's what matters. Indeed. Yes, that is what matters. Trying to think if there was anything that I did on Sunday or today. Oh, I mowed the front lawn. It's getting towards the end of the season, so I don't have to do that much anymore, and that's good, because forget that. Oh, mowing lawns, just tired of that shit. Tired of mowing. I just get really weak. I have a grass allergy, so I wear a mask when I do it, but it still wrecks me. I take a Claritin, and that should help me, but then I just get tired. Kind of waste my day. Ugh, did I do anything? Did I do anything yesterday? Oh, I'll say this. This is a nice thing about where I'm at in South Carolina, small town, a suburb community here in South Carolina. Our local Chinese place isn't bad. No, I'm not saying it's great, but I will say, as far as a Chinese place goes, not bad at all. In that, I don't hate it. My expectations were pretty low. And I'll say, pleasantly surprised. We got Chinese food yesterday. My mom was craving it, and I'm not going to turn that down. So, yeah. I think that was fine. It was like, okay. I think we've done tacos that were okay. Pizza that was surprisingly good. That pizza was surprisingly good. And then found out the guys from Wallingford, Connecticut, used to work at either Sally's or Pepe's on Worcester Street in New Haven, which is a fantastic pizza lineage, those two places. So I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. This guy knows pizza. So that was like surprisingly very good. Which fucking ruled. Because that's one thing I have become a snob about. If I'm a snob about anything, it is definitely pizza, because I have just been spoiled rotten by incredible pizza for like 20 years of my life. Okay. All right. Let's go into it. Oh, we're going to start carving the face here. We'll, once again, put the lid on here. Yeah. Yeah, all right. The lid stays on. The lid does not cave in. I'm feeling pretty good about that. I can cut off a little bit more of this here. Take off a little bit more of the lid. And then we'll get into the face. I did want to say, because I think it was a thought that came in my head. I don't know why it came in my head, but I was thinking about the very short-lived. I think it was only together for like 5 months, so it must have had probably 5 months or maybe even more. I don't know how long of pre-production, but does anybody remember it was only existed in the year 2006, the website Office Pirates? It was an attempt to appeal to young people in their early 20s who were office workers for like a satirical comedy website for them to waste time on. Uh, that was the goal. So it had news articles every day, and it had funny things and joke contests and submit your own whatever. The most popular thing on Office Pirates was every Friday they would have somebody go out, one of their photographer on staff would go out and take photos of people walking around. And then they found out that, oh, people in office wear who are attractive ladies gets clicks, because of course it does. And that was the most popular thing there. And the jokes did okay. I had a friend that worked there. The thing is, I don't remember which friend, because at that time I had I knew somebody who was at UCB when I was at UCB in 2006. That was their day job for a little while, was they worked for officepirates.com, and I don't know who it was. I can't remember, but I know the staff was really small. They didn't promote it. It was Time owned it. They were trying to do it's a real thing, Epico World. They were trying to do college humor, but not college humor as you might think of it. Not college humor that was videos starring the writers from the website, who some of them stopped being writers and only wrote sketches that they were in. I'm talking about college humor as it started, which was three dudes, and they would just like post photos of attractive ladies at colleges and post people's drunken stories as a way to make ad revenue, because there was money in it in 1999 and 2000. So this 2006 property was attempting to be the year 1999 college humor. And it didn't last long at all. It didn't do great. And nobody remembers it but me. And I don't remember who I know that worked on it. And I wish I remembered so I could be like, hey, what's the deal? What was the deal with that website you worked at? But I can't answer that question because I don't know. I can't remember who it was. And nobody replied to my tweet about it. But yeah, that's a website that existed. People trying to cash in with no money and, all that. Because sometimes, like, people remember when I talk about the weird, like, offshoots College Humor tried to do. Dorkly, which was the most successful of all of them. But do you remember Sports Pickle? That's right, College Humor's sports comedy venture. It was all sports stuff, because the sports stuff did okay on College Humor, but the dorkly stuff, they siphoned off all the nerdy stuff, and that turned out to be what all of the internet was interested in. So then they just started doing both of all of them. But originally they were like, we got to move this dork shit off there. And then Sports Pickle didn't last that long, but the one that was the attempt to. Because here's the thing, College Humor had to rebrand a little bit because people remembered them as being like gross, because the early College Humor was gross. So they tried to rebrand and have a website, keep College Humor, but also do stuff at jest.com. It was jest.com was supposed to be the one that could get big name advertisers to work with, the one they could get like. The accounts they couldn't with the name, and they'd be like, well, it's all the College Humor people, but it doesn't bring up bad memories. But what ended up happening was people were like, well, why isn't this going to go on Crunchyroll's website? We're giving you this money. Why is this not Crunchyroll? Sorry, College Humor. I misspoke. Why is this not going on College Humor's website? Why is this? Do you not want our money on the site that people go to? What's going on? And they were like, oh, okay. So they couldn't rebrand. They tried to rebrand. It didn't work. It didn't work. Twitch did it, but College Humor couldn't pull it off. Mainly because they tried to keep both. They tried to have their cake and eat it too, instead of just completely rebranding. And because Justin TV's name was totally poison, and so they had to go with Twitch. Crunchyroll, when they went legit, they didn't rebrand, which is really surprising. They didn't rebrand at all. They were like, hey, we're going legit. And people were like, but I don't want to pay you. I want my free bootleg anime. And they were like, no, go somewhere else for it. And people were like, all right, fine, I will. Or other people were like, oh, cool. I want anime to continue. I'll pay for anime. Really surprising they pulled that off. And sort of, we'll see where it goes. Faku is doing that too. Faku is somehow going legitimate, and especially for the content they are making, that is kind of incredible. But props to them; they've been able to pull it off. It's definitely a different beast, but props to them for being it for giving it a shot. Going licensed, getting rid of the scanlations. It's definitely a scary thing to do that, but probably necessary. You try to grow when you realize you're like, oh, I'm going to try to make a business. But I mean, Justin TV was just such a disaster of a name for them. Also, the thing that's very funny, as I say here, as I am carving a pumpkin, where I normally would be building a model kit, I will tell you, one of the reasons they went with Twitch instead of they rebranded as Twitch was to focus on exclusively doing gaming content and not anything else. If you wanted to do IRL or Hangouts or a talk show or anything that wasn't you playing a video game, well, you were supposed to take that shit to Ustream. You want to go to Ustream for that bullshit. Don't bring that over here. We want gamers. And like, to the point where I remember doing PAX panels where the comments were always like, "This isn't about video games," and I'd be like, "I don't care. PAX isn't just about video games. It's mostly about video games, but it's not." Or like, people would do tabletop stuff here, and folks will be like, "I can't categorize that I'm doing tabletop. There's nothing. I can't put any category in here or any keywords because there's nothing there's no way to say this is what I'm doing here." Because they really don't bring ASMR to this hardcore side. Yeah, well, I mean, they got, so it was, honestly, it was up to the point where Bob Ross was really the point where folks were like, "Hey, you said don't cook and don't paint. What's going on? Why are you doing marathons of television programming?" That they were really like, "Oh yeah, we're back here. You can do IRL and you can do maker stuff and you can do the things you've been doing, but we've been telling you that's not what the site is for. Yeah, if you want to do that, you can do that." But for a long time they were like, "That's not what this is about. This is about playing video games." Like, to the point where like they didn't complain about big sites that brought in big numbers, like even like Giant Bomb doing stuff, but they did complain about individual people. Like, you're going to try to run a stand-up show, and you're like, "Well, I want my stand-up show to be on Twitch," and they're like, "That's not what we do here. You want to go to livestream.com for that," and you're like, "Oh, all right. I was just trying to do some cool shit on Twitch." Yeah, Bob Ross was a real moment, and also the Pokemon marathons. Now you have stuff like Shout TV. Shout has like, it's only available in the U.S. and Canada, but they run 24 hours a day with programming, just some of their catalog. They just run, you could just watch old television on Shout. Shout Factory, I should say. Shout.tv. It's Shout Factory has that. The Game Awards are on here, but also the Crunchyroll Awards are on here. Like, it is, they really have opened up. I watched an hour of Power. Yes. The Power Ranger marathons that happen all the time. They do a lot of Seiya stuff. They do, if you want to watch some Mystery Science Theater, some old Mystery Science Theater, you can watch that on Shout Factory. But yeah, they opened up. I mean, obviously IRL is a huge category. Cooking is is growing category. Art, people just do their own digital art here, which is really fun. I've watched artists that I love just color and listen to anime soundtracks and hang out, which I think is always just like a fun, weird thing that happens. But it really was when they rebranded, especially when they were attempting to get bought. Certainly, when they were attempting to get it bought, they were like, "Hey, we need to pick our lane and stick with it, and we're gonna pick gaming." I mean, even like, obviously with Amazon, the Amazon watch parties, you can just like watch some weird horror movie or whatever. Hey, thank you for the follow, Prof. Nutastic. Welcome. I'm cutting out an eyeball on here. But yeah, Twitch has really opened up a lot, which is great for people like me. And games are still the biggest thing, right? Like big games still do big. People still want to watch fighting tournaments, and people still want to watch people play Hearthstone and Among Us and Minecraft and whatever else. People still want that stuff, and they'll still get it, and it's not a problem. They can get it. And people still do the like ASMR hangouts and the just chatting and the podcast recordings for an audience and all that stuff, which is just nice. It's nice that everybody's able to do that stuff without it being a problem, outside of the other problems that happen. But yeah, all the D&D stuff and the live play stuff is really fun. MOBAs, yes. They still want to watch MOBAs. They do. They want to watch League. Oh, they want to watch League. They want to watch Overwatch. Like yeah, MOBAs and all kinds of stuff. They're out there. People are watching people play them. People are still playing games and chat coaching and yelling about misplays on everything. They're watching horror games right now and fucking loving it. They're watching weird interactive ghost investigation games where part of it is yelling at the ghosts and your voice is registered by the game, not what you're saying exactly, but if you're talking loudly, I can't watch that. I don't want to watch that stuff. The Fanta, whatever it is. I remember one guy streamed a UFC pay-per-view while having the interface for the game up to make it look like he was streaming the game. Yes, he had a controller and he had an overlay. His overlay was meant to look like the UFC video game. And then he was like, as if he was playing the game, but he was just streaming the pay-per-view. Yeah, that was a good throwback to the old days, because the old days of Justin TV, you would people would just be having WWE pay-per-views, and that was how you watched WWE pay-per-views for free. There'd be a delay, and the quality would be bad, and then it would go down, and then someone else would start one, and you would be searching websites like forums for someone posting the link to the one to watch, and this person's streaming it and whatever. Yeah, you'd watch that, and it'd be tiny and in a window, or maybe even reverse because they were trying to get around content. Whatever, like people searching for that, so they would change the name and hoping mods weren't looking because it was a Sunday. There was a lot of that shit. It was where you watched illegal. Yeah, you illegally watch pay-per-views. That was an inventive case. Still better than the old days of watching the garbled pay-per-view channel. Yes. Now people watch pirate streams on sketchy-looking sites. Yeah, now you got to go to sketchy-looking websites to watch that stuff. Or spend $10. But that's only for one company. Other companies definitely cost more. All right. I'm going to widen my nose a little bit here. I think I'm going to make this a little bigger this way here, because I have everything. Nothing is lined up right. It's okay. Nothing's going to be right or perfect because I didn't use a ruler and I'm not great at it. But I am going to make this nose a little bigger before we get into the mouth portion here. But yeah, the old days of this site was interesting, and then the rebrand. But yeah, I mean, I did 404ing it at PAX, right? And it wasn't the PAX people asked me to include video game content. I did because I would be streaming. It would be streamed on the PAX channel. And anything that wasn't video games, people would be shitty about. And it wasn't that they really wanted video games. It was that the stuff they liked was being stopped by Twitch. So they were calling out anything that wasn't, quote-unquote, approved by Twitch. And they were like, well, what about this? How come PAX can do whatever it wants? And it's like, well, because they sense that it's going to be a big thing and they want to partner with it. Also, it's a paid thing. All right, so we got to carve this piece out here a little bit more, clean this up a little bit. Then we'll scoop out whatever's in here. Yeah, just going to cut that out a little bit. Yeah, I like that. All right. One more. Yeah. Okay. Uh, no, we can't do that. Yeah, we got to make sure the nose is nice and big for this pumpkin so it can breathe well. Um, all right. So what's happening right now is we are going to take a pause for the cause, folks. That's right. It doesn't slow down. Now, do we still have to carve the mouth of this pumpkin? Yes, we do. We still have to carve this mouth. We still got to dump all the gut, the whatever remaining guts that are in there in our pumpkin friend here. We still have more work to do. Don't get it twisted. We're not done yet. But we can take a pause for the cause because that is important. So if you're new to the stream, if you don't know what that means, I'm going to take like a couple minutes and I'm going to talk about ways you can support the channel if you'd like. Under no obligation to do so. If you want to, that's rad. If you don't want to, that's also fine. It's okay. It is a bonus thing that you can do. Um, but we'll talk about ways you can support the channel. I'll go through that real quickly. We'll get back to work on this pumpkin, and then, time permitting, we will go back to a model kit that I haven't finished up yet, the Gun Easy, which is this kit right there. It's this friend right there. But right now, I'm going to talk about ways to support the channel. First and foremost, if you're currently a subscriber, you can throw the Baer Cave, the Lego, the Scythe emote in the chat. We got gifted subs. Gifting a sub is great. Subscribing with Cash Money or your Prime Gaming, because you have Amazon linked with your Twitch. Your Primes are linked together, so now you can do that. If you want to do that, that would be rad. But yeah, throw your emotes in the chat. I really appreciate that if you're a subscriber. Gifting subs. We saw wonderful gifts today, which is so nice. Bits and coins also always appreciated if you've got those to spare. Anything I make through Patreon, which I'll talk in a second, my Twitch, YouTube ads. At some point, I'll make enough money to get another YouTube payout. It's slow going. All that goes into me buying model kits. So I have a Patreon, as I said. There's a $1 tier and a $3 tier. If $5 a month is too high for you and you're like, no, thank you, I'm not interested in doing that, I get that. That's fine. I have, as I said, an alternative there. You can do a lower cost. Also, you don't have to do any of that. Direct donation. Once in a while, if you're like, hey, I got 15 bucks in my PayPal account, here you go, Pat. You buy something. You put that towards a kit, because I have a fund from everything, and I just take out of that fund, like the Sega Saturn that I will be building on Thursday. That comes out of the fund. So that is another way to support me is one-time donations. They go a long way for me to buy stuff, and then do that. This pumpkin was purchased with money out of my fund, out of the build fund. Because I was like, oh, this will be a cool thing to do on stream, so I'll get that. I'm going to go through a few ways you can support the channel, and we'll get back to building. This won't take too long, folks. Thank you for putting up with this thing that I do every week in the middle of the stream. I have an Amazon wish list. On that wish list, you will find Lego stuff. I'm going to move this down here to a little more pricey. I just put in a Nutcracker Lego set. I'd like to build that at Christmas time. If you want me to build that around Christmas, I put that on the wish list. There's some inexpensive Lego, some decently priced high grades, more expensive stuff as you go down. I did put in that PlayStation. I bought the Sega Saturn model kit. The PlayStation model kit is in there if you'd like me to build that. And then anything you buy in the kit anything you buy from my wish list jumps the queue. I have a bunch of stuff that I would like to build, but I will build this other stuff before that if you buy it. That is a way to get something built there, because it's as a thank you to people that go out of their way to purchase something for me to build on stream. The least I can do is do that sooner. Alternative, if you're not interested in using, you want to help out, you're not interested in using Amazon, which I understand fully, totally get. USA Gundam Store, you can buy a gift card. They don't have a wish list the same way and mail things to that, but USA Gundam, oops. Wrote that wrong. There we go. USA Gundam Store. You go there, you buy a gift card, and then you send me a DM on Twitter, because my DMs are open. With that gift card, you get in your email, and then I use that money to buy something. The cup noodle that's coming was bought with that. And also, there's a Gohan figure, model kit that I'll be building soon. Teen Gohan, the ultimate Gohan, I should say. It's not Saiyaman, but it's still a cool Gohan. I'll be building that when that arrives. Harold gave me some money that I used towards that, and someone who I can't remember their name, they sent me a gift card, wanted me to get that cup noodle, so I got that. That's coming soon because I had to pre-order both of those. All right, is there anything else I want to say? Oh yeah, so I have a Discord. You can join that. And now I will send you the Discord link. If you want to join my Discord, feel free. It's chill. It's cool. A couple of videos I've made. Pat Bear's Anime Club, keeping with the holiday spirit right now. If you are like Pat, I would like to watch some anime that is Halloween themed, or they're good for this month, but is not spooky, is not a horror anime. Well, I have some action anime and some lighthearted stuff that fits the bill, that involves witches and vampires and a mummy and all kinds of stuff. And but also some of them are action packed and involve monsters in a hell the hell dimension. And a bunch of cool stuff. Bunch of different shows in there to recommend in that video, so check that out. And then Baering the List is a weekly series where I rank things. I ranked penguin species, so you can check this video out here. My next ranking video, I think, is something long overdue, and the one I'm doing the following week, I'm still working on right now. I'm usually a couple ahead, but this one required a lot of research and is very annoying. But it was requested by a comment in on the video, so I took it seriously because somebody was like, hey, can you do this? And I was like, I will try. We'll get back to building in just one moment. I do want to say here, okay. Check this real quick. Just check in. My man, cheese there. Okay, okay, okay. Great. All right. I said Menchie's. I never say that. That was weird. Anyway, I am going to carve the face of this thing. Let's get the mouth in. And then I'm also going to talk about anime I watched in the last couple days. Because I watched some anime, and that's what happens in the second hour. If you're new to the stream, and this, we got our lid done. We got a few guts we got to scrape out of there left. We've got some stuff here that needs to come out, but we'll dump that when we get a little farther in. We've got eyes and a nose, and it's time to get that mouth going. And I'll tell you, first, before I even start, before I talk about By the Grace of the Gods, I will tell you that I am now officially dropping. I started watching episode 2 and was like, I don't really want to watch this. I'm going to drop The Day I Became a God, which I hadn't watched for Saturday's stream, and I was like, oh, I'll pick that up. I'll watch it. No, I'm just done. It just didn't appeal to me. I'm not interested right now in that show, so I am not going to continue with it. If I hear very good things, maybe I'll check it out. So, By the Grace of the Gods. This is episode 3, and we got a whole lot of information about how this world works and how isekais work. So our guy, Ryoma, he was told, the gods that resurrected him said, hey, when you come to a town, pray in the church, and then you can communicate with us. And he did. He hasn't been to a town in 3 years because he's 11. So we learned a lot. And I think maybe I would have liked to have this happen a little later in the series because it's the 3rd episode. I'd like to see a little bit more of the world and him exploring the world. And so I was a little disappointed with this, although I'd like the information and I like the world building. So the slimes that he's really proud of, that he created, the new species of slimes that he made, the cleaning slimes and the I forget what other slimes. He had a couple slimes he made. The original, one of his gods originally created the slimes, and he made these combinations, which is why other people hadn't. At one point in the past, a girl was isekai'd into the world, and she married into the family that he's staying with. So they've always been blessed by these gods. And she developed the animal training magic. So he learns a bunch of stuff. That's nice. Against their other gods, it's not just these 3. There are a bunch of other gods, and some of them usually don't take any interest in the people that get isekai'd, but apparently they've taken interest in him, including including like a crafting god who apparently is like, I like this guy. But maybe we'll see that later. Maybe more gods will make an appearance in the show. It is called By the Grace of the Gods, so perhaps there'll be more. There's also like another guy. There was another guy who isekai'd who was a real otaku, and he wanted like incredible offensive magic, and so he started like offensive magic throughout the world. But he also was like too timid a guy to do anything bad with it, which was kind of fun to think about. Like basically, this world has also had people that were like, they got isekai that were like, oh, this might have been a mistake, which was kind of neat. Um, let's see. Oh yeah, so he wants to register at the Tamers Guild, but because he tames slimes, he's not going to rank too high because they don't think that's impressive. So he's like, okay, well that didn't work. So they're like, why don't you sign up for the Adventurers Guild? That'll be good. You can sign up for the Adventurers Guild, and he has to take a test. There's a new character introduced named Worgen, and I really like his design. He's like the branch manager. He's basically in charge of this branch of the guild. He was cool. We did get to see Ryoma um, uh, just completely kick ass. He got a lot of good combat skills. He really impressed everybody with how awesome he was in combat. And then he gets his first job, which is cleaning, because it's a low-ranking job. So he's like, fine, I will go and do this gig that you have requested of me. I will go and clean, because he's got slimes that like cleaning. So that'll be fine. And at the very end of the episode, we get introduced to Mia, who is a cat girl. She's also in the closing theme. Uh, so I knew that there were going to be animal people. And she is a cat girl, and she is very happy because her house is apparently very stinky. Uh, which is okay, sure. But yeah, so that is so now that I use my X-Acto knife, I'm going to follow in with my regular knife here, and we're just going to trace around, just cut deeper and kind of cut thoroughly here, because we got to get through the whole skin of this pretty easily, and then we will go, and what I'll end up doing is I'm going to cut segments here. I'm going to cut a bunch of segments out to pull it apart, because that'll be a little easier than trying to get this whole wedge out. It helps a lot to do. So we're just going to go around here and kind of just cut through. We use our X-Acto knife, but now we're just making deeper cuts, thicker cuts here as we go in. By the grace of the gods, really chill. It's a slice of life that's also an isekai. It is a slice of life first, and I am fine with that. Of the 3 isekai this season, this one I think is my favorite. I think Kuma 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 Baer. I'm gonna give another episode because it's good, but I'm waiting to see if there's any meat on the bones. And this one is just like a chill adventure about a boy and his slimes, and you just have to remember that he's not, even though he was in his 30s when he died, he's 11. Just gotta remember that he's 11. Okay. Maesetsu, opening act. This is a series about the main characters are 2 sets. They're comedy duos. These are girls that want to become comedy duos. They want to become famous comedians, because in this world, in the anime world, comedy is a thing that a lot of people are interested in doing, including young ladies, and the specific brand of like Abbott and Costello style, like person set up punchline, rapid fire jokes is a thing that people aspire to do, and they get like signed, and it's a whole thing. That is this world. So in this world, we have 2 different sets of girls. They all work at the same noodle house, and they're all pursuing their dream. There are 2 that are more successful that they have begrudging respect for, and one of the girls' younger sister and her friend are getting interested in the idea of doing it as well. So that's the world. So in the first episode, we got introduced to 8 girls that all want to do this, basically. And then there was a teacher character. And then there were 2 other characters that own the noodle place. And in this episode, we are introduced to the fact immediately that these 2 folks who are married or brother and sister, I can't tell, I don't know, they don't say, they look similar, they are a comedy duo. Everyone in this show is a comedy duo. What the fuck? So they are not signed. They're kind of partially signed. They're still considered amateurs. So are the jokes funny? It would seem to me, though, that the process of translation, much of the funny would be lost. So here's the thing, Epic Open World. This is a slice of life about people that want to become comedians. This is not a comedy. It's funny in parts, but it is not a romantic comedy or a zany comedy or a comedy about school. It's not Azumango Daioh. It's not even Sleepy Princess in a Demon Castle, which is definitely a comedy. It's a comedy that happens to be in an adventure series. This is a slice of life. This is this season's a bunch of girls are very passionate about a thing. This is instead of fishing or board games or camping or starting a band. This is we are all very serious about comedy. So while there are jokes, it is not a slapstick fest. That being said, the first episode, there's a joke in it that does not work for people that it is very hard to get. It is the first show. There's a joke that doesn't work in the first episode. There's a joke that doesn't work for the audience. They don't get it. It is a character from one anime portraying and doing her it's a character doing an impression of a character doing an impression of a subway train. It's even down to like bing bong and like doors closing. So like you need to know, like it's the equivalent of like Rick from Rick and Morty doing an impression of Bart Simpson doing an impression of the monorail or a subway train. That's what the joke is, and it doesn't quite work because it's too much. So, like, that joke isn't supposed to work. But even if it doesn't work, it still doesn't make any fucking sense unless you're like, I know what both those references are, and I know exactly what this is. This episode had more jokes that worked because, the girls want to enter this competition, but they need more practice. So they set up basically a bringer show. There's a cafe they always hang out in, and they're going to set up a stage and each of them are going to do their act, and then they're going to follow up with doing like a short form improv game, a Q&A, where one person is asking them questions, and it's just an excuse for them to do like bits that aren't fully fleshed out. Like things that they're like, oh, this is the thing that like, oh, you know what always makes me mad on the subway is girls that do this, and they're like, that's you're explaining yourself, and they're like, yup. That actually like works pretty well, and like there are funny bits in that. There's actually jokes, but I was saying, I don't think there's ever been an anime that talked about improv comedy before, and I don't know how to think about that. Like, there's a flashback between two of the girls that are from Art Deco, and how they, like, one of them went to a comedy school and the other didn't, but they were a comedy group. They became a comedy duo because they both voted to do comedy as their, like, middle school, like, thing for the cultural festival, and they were, like, the only ones that wanted to do comedy. And they realized that they both loved comedy, so they started like talking about comedy and hanging out, and then they were like, let's do this. But now they're both serious about it, and they're entering the competition. And it was like, cool. So there's a montage to a song of them like practicing, and then they end up doing, they sell tickets, and they get enough people coming, including one of the younger sister and her friend are there. And so one of the group does a lot of like sketches, like they do like a scene, and we get to see some of it, which is kind of cool. So they do a thing where it's one of them like trying to rob a bank, but then the other person is like too good of a salesman of like opening up a savings account, and it's a lot of like mugging to the audience, and it's like cute and fine. And then the other group is a lot more like fast-paced, like misunderstandings. Like I said, this genre exists in Japan, and some of the people that do it are writing on the show because it's an original series. So some people are like, so they have duos like they're going to guest star in it apparently, and some of them are on the writing staff. And I don't know if a lot of it's going to translate. I'm going to have trouble with some of it. And as I said, it might just be an anime for me and Jake Young, formerly of Dorkly. It might just be an anime for the two of us. It might not be for anyone else, but I think it's fucking rad. And anyway, the improv is a short form-ish game. where it's not really written and they're kind of vibing off each other. There's also a whole point where one of them is in the bathtub trying to go over various ways to make a joke work better, and she's very frustrated by it, and I just feel that. And there's also a thing where one of them has run out of regular friends to come to their shows. This is one of the cafe owners, and I definitely, as somebody who had trouble getting an audience to come because I realized all my friends are improvisers. Yeah. Will there be any documental references? I don't know. I like. They're probably going to reference real Japanese duos because that is still an art form in Japan. It is still a thing that exists, so it might reference like real people. Like a couple of them like are on the SNL. That's the Japanese SNL. There's like I don't even know if that still exists, but when it started, people were like, "There's some very old gentlemen on this show," and those were like very established guys. And one of them was like a duo that was like a writing duo. We don't have that here. The closest thing we have in America to that, at least in the U.S., to that style that is in Japan still, that we're talking about in the show, the closest thing we have to that is there is a like the Sklar brothers or the Lucas brothers, and that's like twins who are kind of doing the thing. And the Sklar brothers have like some jokes where they're like, there's a famous Sklar brothers bit where they're doing like changing the dial on radio stations, and they're doing all that like this Sunday at the like do this thing. That fast-paced like overlapping thing is the closest thing I can tell you to modern day Japanese duo stand-up, which is rooted in like ancient, like not ancient, but like old stuff. It's an old art form that they're still doing. It's just a cool show about it's a slice of life about people that want to get into comedy, and it's an original series and it's cute. There's a new the closing theme is there, which is what they started with last time. So now they have a real opening theme and a real closing theme, and it's just fucking great, y'all. It's just fucking great. All right, let's dump this head out of here. Let's get the remnants of this into this here, and we'll take a look at our handiwork and see if there's any modifications we want to make. But let's try to shake out some guts out of this. Ninja Collection. I think there's 13 episodes. We were on episode 12. I'm kind of just completing this because it's a 4-minute show, so let me fucking complete it. What do I care? It's another little ghost story thing. This time it's more about the ninjas that work there. There's a guy who's talking about being into time, and he's like, oh, I do everything quick. But then he gets, basically, a woman is begging for water, a demon's begging for water, and then she touches him, and he doesn't realize it. And then he ends up behaving like she was. And then the end of the little episode is him in the position she was in, and another ninja being like, I can't believe you're one of us because you're pathetic, which is the only time so far we've seen someone who is in the Ninja Collection game who is shitty, because everybody seems like either detached or kind of nice. So that was odd, because the very last episode, the guy was sympathetic about one of his turning into a demon. So I don't know. Again, nothing exceptional about the show, but at this point, I'm episode 12, so I'm going to probably finish it up. All right. Let's do a little bit more here. Kind of go in there. And then Sleepy Princess. I'm still digging the show a lot. This was 3 little stories in one, little tiny stories. I will say the middle one, it's probably my least favorite part of the show so far, because it was, I don't mind misunderstanding as a plot, but I do mind the like weird sexual, like, she wasn't being sexual, but the implication was that she was being it, and the demons were all very uncomfortable with that, which is fine and good that they were uncomfortable, but it was also like, this is weird. This is a weird part of the episode. So I will say, probably my least favorite of these episodes, but I like this show a lot. Basically, the princess, the highlights are the princess wants to read a grimoire. Not because she wants the magic contained within the grimoires, because humans put their arcane magic knowledge in there, and she's never used magic. She doesn't want to do that. She wants to read it because she bets that grimoires are boring and complicated, and that'll put her to sleep because she's the sleepy princess. That's her whole motivation. She accidentally, through a series of complete and utter accidents, releases this spirit. I have his name here. His name is Alzif. And he does not understand why she doesn't want to use him in order to flee. But she wants to learn sleeping magic, which she ends up casting on everyone in the castle. So everyone in the demon castle goes to sleep, but except her, because why would, and he's like, why would someone cast magic on themselves like that? No way. That doesn't work on you. She's very mad about that. But then she ends up falling asleep by opening the book and just using it like a pillow. As I said, the second part of the story, which I did not enjoy, is she's learning about pressure points, but she can't reach the two on her back. So she's like, hey, come help me. But she doesn't want to say pressure points, because she's trying to be sneaky. So she just says like, hey, come touch my body. And everyone's like, what the fuck? No, what? No. And then the Demon King gets roped into going along with it. And then they all feel fucking terrible for misunderstanding that she was not propositioning people. And everyone felt dirty and bad. That's the second story. As I said, I did not enjoy that one. The third one I think is really funny. The princess's internal clock is messed up because it's always night. So she doesn't she wants something bright to wake up to, like the sun. So she sneaks out of the castle, and instead of trying to get home, she follows the source of this bright light, which is a big sword. I also want to say my favorite minor character, I don't think he's been named. He's a skeleton, and he has an arrow through his head, because that is definitely how he died, and then he became a skeleton man. And I just think that's a great bit of thing that I don't know anything about, and I really like that dude. Just want you to know that character exists, and I think he's great. Let's see. She retrieves the shining sword, and she comes back to the castle, and everyone's really confused because she's like, she set it up, and the Demon King is like, why did she do this? I don't understand what's going on. It's a cute show. I really like it. And then I want to talk to you very briefly about a show that I will not be continuing, but I want to talk about it because I think it's important to talk about the shows that I end up passing on. I think that's still important. The Gymnastics Samurai. One, I wasn't going to watch this show because the name made me unhappy. The Gymnastics Samurai is the name of a show that I was like, I do not want to watch this. But I've heard good things about it. A friend of mine really likes it. One thing I did not enjoy off the bat is the gymnastics are CG. Now, it's one thing if everything is digital and then something is CG, like a monster. And sometimes that doesn't look right and it's fine. But to have somebody who was otherwise digitally animated suddenly be computer generated to be able to do stuff you can't do in digital or you can't do it fast enough, that sucks and I don't like it. And that immediately turned me off. And then I just was like kind of bored with it, so I didn't continue. There are two things I like about it. I like that there is that this guy, he's called the Samurai because his long hair was done up in a bun. Which I guess, thank you for the follow. Mido Manox, appreciate that. So the thing I like about this is, that he's called a samurai because the way his hair was done up. That he and his daughter have a giant bird, a big parrot type bird that says thank you, like a parrot. I don't know what kind of type of bird it was, but they call that bird, its name is Big Bird. I really, really honestly appreciate that bird's name is Big Bird. I think that is a great choice. And the other thing I like about it is it's set in the early 2000s, so there are references to the Matrix. Because the little girl, Rei, really loves ninjas, and at one point they go and see this ninja, they go to an Edo town, and see ninja, a ninja fight thing. And then there are some people in suits that show up that are definitely not part of the thing. And so she says, like, the Mr. Smiths are here. And she also makes a Keanu reference. And I appreciate that they did not update those references when making this anime to modern things. They were like, nope, this show is set in the early 2000s, and this girl who likes ninjas also somehow saw The Matrix and thought it was rad. And I think that is a fun choice. I do know that a ninja ends up moving in with this guy. The story is it's a sports anime about a guy who was good, but he was never excellent. And now he is getting too old for the sport. And it's him, like, going on his own to, like, for one last shot at the gold medal in gymnastics. I think that's the plot of the story. Anyway, I got bored with it, and I'm not going to keep watching it. But I wanted to let you know about it, because if that's up your alley, that sounds great. I am also watching 2 sports anime this season, a genre I don't enjoy all that much, but Haikyuu rules, and Climbing Girls is cool. So I am going to keep watching those 2 shows. And I think that, like, that's enough sports anime for my liking. Also, I think that there's a surfing anime, and I don't even think that got picked up. I don't think anyone picked that up. So that could be another sports anime out there if you want to try to find fan subs, if someone's fan subbing that Wave, the surfing one. All right. We'll take a look at this and see how this is looking here. But anyway, that's my anime talk for the stream. I still have not watched Jujutsu Kaisen. I still not have. I'm going to watch. It's a Thursday show, so I'm going to watch Akuma Drive. I'm going to try to watch that because it is a good friend of mine's favorite show this season. A show that I'm like, okay. I don't know about that, but apparently that's the best show. But he also is watching the Moriarty show, which I am not going to watch because I think I've said this before. I don't want to watch anything Sherlock Holmes related in an anime. Sherlock Holmes is the new Romance of the Three Kingdoms or Journey to the West, in that I don't want to watch it, but Japan keeps wanting to make anime that are about that. We just, like 2 seasons ago, we had a Sherlock show. And this season we have, what if Moriarty was justified as a youth? And it's like, oh, okay. Because he was adopted. And he's brilliant, but he thinks the upper class is up to no good, so he's going to figure some shit out. I think that's what the show is about. And then by the end, maybe he'll become corrupted into becoming a supervillain. I don't know, but I'm like, no thanks. I don't want to watch that. All right, so let's see here. Let's look at our friendly pumpkin here, and we'll see. We're gonna do a little trimming here. I'm gonna clean some stuff up maybe. The inside's looking real good. Lid's looking good. I'll show you the final results here. So that's that. That's the top here. After not liking the BBC Sherlock, I've had my fill of Sherlock-related content. Yeah, I mean, like, there's good stuff out there. It's just is a lot of it, and I'm kind of tired of it. And also, this season is just jam-packed with shows, and I'm watching a lot of shows in genres I really like, so I don't need to watch stuff that I'm not super interested in, because there's so much to watch, and it all comes out on Fridays and Saturdays. There's stuff I haven't even started yet. I still haven't started Yashahime. Want to watch it some time. All right, so there's our face. This is our pumpkin. This is our goofy friend, the pumpkin here. So I can do a little cleaning up on this. We'll do a little bit of cleaning, but this is pretty much done. This is pretty much where I want it. Again, I wish this was like here. It's not a flat line into the mouth. There's still a lip. You can still see on the inside, or I don't know how you're going to see that, but there's still a lip here. There's still a ridge there, but it should be probably a little higher. I probably did start the mouth too low. And I definitely could have made that higher. But I am not displeased with where it ended up. But yeah, this is my goofy pumpkin friend. Please look and enjoy the goofy pumpkin friend. I think I'm going to try to clean up the... Whoops. It's hard to keep the This does stay in. It's just hard to do that in this. I am going to try to clean up the nose a little bit. I think I can make this just a little different, maybe a little bit more square, because that way we have that. But yeah, this is our goofy pumpkin friend. I'm never going to get the eyes even because I just know that I don't have that skill. But why don't we work on the mouth a little bit? Let me know what you're watching. Are you watching television stuff? You're watching anime? You're reading? You're watching some movies. You're checking out Netflix stuff. You're watching all of that. Hey, here's a series that came out in 2018 that I never heard about on Netflix because I had Netflix in 2018. I just didn't hear about it. Did you know that they made a live-action reboot of Reboot? And it's Mainframe. It's Mainframe Entertainment, or the people that made Reboot, did a mixed media live action and CG reboot that is basically Power Rangers. And I wish it wasn't called Reboot. And it was just its own thing, because it's not fucking Reboot. It's Samurai Squad, it's Power Rangers, it's VR Troopers, it's teens are recruited to help fight villains. And I'm like, no thanks. I watched the trailer for it, and I'm like, maybe that's why I didn't hear about this. But I had heard, oh, they're going to reboot. And I was like, oh, it's the original people. That's interesting. I'm sure the technology has improved. I bet they could make something great. They've done all these Barbie CG things. I bet they've really honed their craft. And then they just did something weird, and they wanted to do something with live action. Cal Unit says, Climbing Girls, Bake Off, and about to start Over the Garden Wall with my wife who has never seen it. Hell yeah, that's awesome. That's a fun show. All right, so I made this nose wider, and I don't dislike it. I like it. I can't go any lower. I could go a little higher. Can't go any lower because I don't want this to break right here, because it will. But overall, I do like where that went. VR Troopers, that is the name I have not heard in a very long time. Make that into an anime, right? Yes. All the shows that took the idea of, well, we can also buy cheap Japanese shows and completely change what it is. The Samurai Troopers and Samurai Troopers, which had the middle Lawrence brother and the younger brother of the sidekick in Parker Lewis Can't Lose. His younger brother was in it. And the villain was voiced by Tim Curry. But yeah, VR Troopers, and then later, Big Bad Beetleborgs, which, why did that have a ghost in it? I don't know, but it did. It had a ghost genie that looked like Jay Leno. And kids that became Big Bad Beetleborgs. All those shows. So it was just reused footage of Japanese fighting, and we'll do all that because they made a lot of money on that because they didn't think that kids cared. Because years ago, years and years before Power Rangers became the hit that it was, they tried to do a U.S. Ultraman. Big Bad Beetleborgs. Yes, they tried to do a Ultraman in the U.S. They had American kids in it, and they reshot footage, and they did all this stuff, and it was a lot of original. Some of it was recycled, and some of it was original, and it tanked because American kids were like, those monsters are rubber. No, thank you. It turned out you needed a bunch of kids. What you needed was Zords. You needed Zords, and then American kids were like, that's a rubber monster, but okay, because the Zords look great, and whatever. We'll go with it. All right. There. And then also, the original actress that played Trini was Latina, not Asian, but she was older. She was weirdly older than everyone else. She was the Andrea of the show, if you remember your 90210s. In the pilot, in the unaired pilot, which eventually was aired as like a wacky alternate world, she asked for a lot more money, and so they replaced her uh, with another character, and they were like, "Oh, we'll get this Asian girl." But yeah, originally Trini was not. That was a different actress. But yes, she knew her worth, and so she was summarily replaced, which happens. Anyway, this feels fucking good. This pumpkin is good. I'm not going to switch gears at the end of the stream and finish up the gun easy. We're going to do that on Thursday. We'll talk about final thoughts on this. We are going to raid because I think that's always nice to do at the end of a stream. So I'll find someone awesome who is doing something, and we'll go raid their stream and see what they're up to for the end of this. We'll definitely do that. And then Wednesday, I'm playing Jackbox 7. Oh, Lashbrook says, I watched 4 hours of people playing Mario Party 7 while the same 1-minute music clip looped. Oh, but Dan lost their will to live. Looped and all, but Dan lost their will to live. Yeah, that'll do it. Yeah, I would definitely not be able to hang on for that many hours. But yeah, we're going to raid, but let me show you the results of our pumpkin carving. It's a pumpkin. He's a goofy friend, a silly friend. There we go. You can see. Right there. It's got a lid there. Lid comes off easy. You can put a candle in there if you want, or a little electric thing. Got a good silly nose, some fun eyes here. Big old open mouth, just saying what's up. Got a good amount of things there. It looks good. It's fairly balanced. Looking head on, you don't see the imperfections in this pumpkin. You just see the imperfections in my artwork. But yeah, I feel pretty damn good about this. And of course, again, thank you to Cali Unit for gifting those subs. That's awesome. Welcome everybody. Wednesday we'll be playing Jackbox Party Pack 7, the new Jackbox. But right now I have to clean my hands off because we have to go raid. And this has been the Pumpkin Carving stream, but we're going to go raid somebody. So please come along on that raid. I will make sure to find someone radical to go and watch and see what they're doing. Somebody hopefully who will play for a while because that is a fun thing to do. And again, Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern, play Jackbox. Thursday, I will be finishing the Gun EZ model kit and then starting the Sega Saturn, which I'm very excited about that. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I got to figure out who's streaming. What are they playing? We could do that. Let's see. Who's doing stuff that I want to check out? I think he's probably wrapping up. All right, hey, we built a pumpkin. It was a safe, cool place. Let's go get really scared. Although, wait, is this an ad? Okay, yeah, it's an ad rolling. I was like, what's happening here? Mary Kish is playing Amnesia Rebirth, so we're going to go get really terrified by that. But I think maybe an ad is playing right now. Okay, Mary's on a break, so I'm sorry, folks. We're not going to raid Mary because Mary is on a break right now. She just ended. Thank you for letting me know. She just ended, so we're not raiding Mary. False alarm, everybody. We're not raiding Mary. We are going to go and check out a user. Ray FK is playing Hades. Great dude. We're going to go raid Ray FK. I just see doggies. Yeah. So we're going to go raid Ray FK and check out their stream and see them playing Hades. And I think that's going to be good. We're just waiting for an ad to finish. But she didn't in the stream. She's playing dogs. Well, Lord Crashit, if you want to go on your own, you can. But I'm not going to go raid somebody who is away. But she is just playing. There's just a dog thing. So she might be on a break. If you want to go check that out, you can. But I want to go raid somebody who is actively out right now. So feel free to come along. But yeah, we're going to go check out some Hades. And thanks so much for watching the stream. I hope you have a great rest of your night. Feel free to come along. If not, that's okay. Wednesday, Jackbox, be there. Thanks to new people to stop by. I hope you come back. Hit the follow button if you hadn't already. And let's go raid. Bye, everybody. Goodbye, 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 goodbye.